carry from over the physical layer or over the transmission medium, and what are the signals. So we have to define the data and signals. So suppose before defining what is data, what type of data you can carry from over the transmission media, and what are signals, we have to just take an example. So when we are discussing the communication at the physical layer, as given in figure 3.1 here, can you see the pic, or should I zoom in? Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so you can see here, if someone, this is some example of a Sky Research Lab or Sky Research organization, and there is one person who wants to find the online books, scientific books. So there is one person sitting in Sky Research Lab, and this is Alice. So on left hand side top. So this Alice wants to retrieve some online books from the server. So now it's switch to which this Alice is connected, its laptop is connected. It will send a request, and the link to the next router is R2, then it is R4, then from R4 it will be routed to the switches, switch WAN, and then switch WAN will connect it to R5 router as given in the figure here. Then from R5 it will go to R7, and from R7 it will go to the Bob, that is the workstation on which the scientific books are loaded. So if in terms of the TCP/IP model, if you think, then the communication is going on at the physical layer. So it is finding the route and the routers, and how the communication is going. Alice is sending from its application layer the data, the message or a search message. So suppose Alice is having a Google browser or a Yahoo browser or any other browser which is just searching, and it is using any search engine, Google engine or Yahoo engine or any other engine, search engine it is using. So the message for a particular scientific book will be transferred from the application layer to the transport layer to the network layer, data link layer, and hence the physical layer of the Alice device, the host machine, the source machine. And then that message will be routed in the form of a data, that is the request data, and it will be sent to the router to R2 physical layer. From R2's physical layer, it will go to the physical layer of R4 router. From the physical layer of R4, it will go to R5. From R5, it will go to R7, and then it will go to the destination machine physical layer. And then at the physical layer, at the destination machine, the data will be given to data link layer, network layer, transport layer, and application layer. And the request will be accepted by the application layer at the destination machine. This is how the data and signals will be transferred from source to the destination at in the context of physical layer. So here we are just discussing about physical layer. So at the level of physical layer, it is just transferring the request from the source machine, Alice machine, to Bob's machine, the destination machine. This is basically we are because focusing on the physical layer. So it is showing the physical links and the physical communication which is going on. But you can see the communication which is going on in the data link layer, network layer, application layer, and transport layer is all logical. So we have other protocols for that, but the actual data which is transferred is from one machine to another is in the form of physical layer, and it is the physical data and the signal which is being transmitted. Now when we are saying that the data and signals are transferred, we should first understand what is the data, what are the types of data which are transferred from one end of the machine to the other end. So both data and signals, they can be represented in either analog form and digital form. What do you mean by analog data and what do you mean by digital data? Can anyone tell me what is analog, what is digital? And can you give me an example of analog and digital? Yes, Khushi. Is Khushi here? Khushi Jaiswal. Prachi. Prachi Likhari. Yes, Prachi. Can you tell me the difference between analog and digital? Saloni Gupta. Prachi. Please turn on your mic.
Ma'am, analog means continuous information, and ma'am,
Yes.
digital means data with sequence.
Data with sequence. Okay. Any other definition? Anyone else? Neha Rani?
Ma'am, analog means data is continuously transferred, I think, and in digital we are using encoding and all.
Yeah, in that sense, you're a little bit correct. But when we are saying, because analog, we have two things. One is signal. Signal is basically that is transmitted over the transmission media. So we are doing signaling, and another is the data which is being interpreted in the form of the signal. So actually, when we are talking of the wiring and the transmission media, that is the coaxial cable or optical fiber. So signal can be of any form. It could be of optical form. We have discussed this in chapter 2, unit 2 also, when we discuss the media types. Okay, so transmission media can be of any type and it can carry any type of a signal. So when we are saying that we are transferring the data or we are sending the data, basically we are not actually sending the data, we are actually sending the signals over the transmission media, but that signal is carrying the data. So basically the carrier, the medium is signal. So our data is being carried over the signal. So that is how we say signal and data. These two things are different. But now again, the data can be itself analog and digital, and signal itself can be analog and digital. So just be sure that what you are talking about. Are you talking of a signal, or are you talking about the data? So data is the information which is to be transferred from one end of the machine to the other end of the machine, and basically the signal is what the medium, the carrier which you are transferring from one end of the link to the other end. So basically normally we say we transfer the signal in the form of an electromagnetic wave. So whenever we are saying electromagnetic wave, we say the transmission media is either coaxial cable or twisted pair. But when we say the signal is optical signal, then we say we are using an optical fiber, which is now nowadays is being used. And when we talk of the Wi-Fi, we say the signal is in the form of a radio wave. Is that clear? There are different types of signals. Okay, there are optical signals, there are electromagnetic signals, there are radio waves. So in any form you can transmit the signal, but all those signals are treated as the carriers which are carrying the data. So data is different and carrier signal is different. Okay, now we'll discuss the analog signaling, analog signals and digital signals, and we'll discuss what is digital data and what is digital signal. Now if in context of data, if we say analog and digital data is, suppose I just want to transfer the data in the form of bits. The simplest example is zeros and ones. If I want to transfer the data in the form of zeros and ones, I am sending some data which is already in the form of zeros and ones. So what I can do is I can have an electrical signal, simple electromagnetic wave. I can say if it is going on 10 volts, then I will say it is interpreted as 1, and if it is having the absence of the signal, that is 0 volts, then it is rated as 0. So merely transmitting the data over a period of time will say that it is carrying the signal at 10 volts. So that data, that electromagnetic signal, that current is basically treated as 1 bit. But if you say you are not transferring any signal in a particular duration of time, we are carrying 0 bits. That is presence and absence. That means two different interpretations of the same signal. Is that clear? Now, another one is analog data. Now, suppose I am sending the data, now a voice signal or a movie. So that signal is basically in itself analog. If I say I am sending my voice over YouTube or over this channel only, so my voice is analog data, because it is continuous. It does not have any breaks in it, maybe in that sense. And if you're sending, suppose, some music, MP4 file or MP3 file, now this data I am sending is in itself analog data, but how I'll represent it, I can represent it as an analog signal. I can represent it as a digital signal also. Now my voice is normally, when you must have heard that normally the voice signals, the audio signals, they have a frequency range. We'll discuss the frequency and all those things. But normally we say technically the audio signals, they are in the range of 4 hertz to 40 kilohertz, or 4,000 hertz. So 4K. So for 4 hertz to 40 hertz to 4,000 hertz, or 4K hertz. So that is the audio signal range. So whenever I'm talking, so now suppose when I talk over the microphone, or when I'm using the earphone and I'm talking, my voice is limited, and its frequency and its bandwidth is limited. So it has its own power and strength. But if I speak without a mic, without anything, over in a, suppose a big hall, maybe in an auditorium, you all won't be able to hear, because when the signal, this audio signal, the data which I'm giving you these signals, and I'm sending you this analog data. I'm talking to you, and I'm talking in a big room. This has to travel from me source, and the farthest person who is sitting at the end of the auditorium. This audio signal will not be able to travel to that distance, and it's basically its power will be minimized, and it will lose its strength, and it will not be carried over a long distance. But to carry this analog data to a longer distance, I need to override it and amplify it, and I have to use an amplifier, and I have to use a mic and a speaker, so that it can be amplified. So whenever you are standing on the podium and you are using a mic, that is basically your analog signal is modified, and it is carried over a long distance using a carrier signal, that is which is being used by the mic. Is that clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So my suppose if I just say sit, stand, sit, stand, sit, stand, I am just giving you on, off, on, off. I'm just giving you digital data. That data is digital data. So if I say, I'll just say 2 things, and you have to respond accordingly. That is okay. So then in that case, if I'm not giving the continuous lecture, and if I'm just speaking 2 words, then that will be analog data. But when I am saying I am sending the analog signal, analog data, so whatever I am speaking, that should be that should reach the destination, and my voice is an analog signal, because that is a continuous message. So that is analog data. So data can be of any type. Analog type. Analog is basically, normally in normal life, you say analog is your voice messages. All the voice messages are continuous, voice messages are, audio messages are analog data. And digital data is zeros and ones, which you send it through computers, or maybe which have 2 values. Now comes analog and digital signals. Now if we say that analog signal has definitely infinitely many levels of intensity over a period of time. So as the wave moves from value A to value B, it passes through and includes an infinite number of values along its path. Now suppose if I say I'm sending a continuous current. Now when we are talking of digital signals, now I'm talking of the carrier, the wave actually. So you must have studied in physics in class 12th, if you had physics in class 12. So you must have studied about signals and electrical signals. Have you studied about AC and EC and DC, AC and DC?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Analog current and direct current you must have studied, AC and DC. So AC is what? That is continuous sine wave or a cosine wave. So continuous current, if it is flowing, and that is AC. So that is analog signal. And if we say DC, that is direct current. So we have a static voltage level. Either it is 5 volts, 20 volts, 10 volts, that is direct current, DC current. So always the value of the voltage is a particular level, at a particular level. So that is digital signal. Is that clear? DC is digital signal and AC is analog signal. So when you have continuous values in the electrical signal, that is AC. When we have only discrete values, some predefined values, and only the signal can take those values, then DC is kind of a digital signal. Now you can see here in this example, figure 3.2, it shows example of analog signal and digital signal. Now in figure 3.2 A part, you see the analog signal is kind of a wave, not exactly sine wave, but modification of sine wave, ups and downs, up crest and down crest, and this is an analog signal. So it contains the continuous values within the range of minus some value, minus x to plus x, so the highest value. So the signal varies and it continuously have some level of values, maybe minus or zero or maybe plus, but at every point it has some value. But for digital signal, that is part B in the figure, you can see the digital signal for this entire duration, the first duration of time, it is having a constant value, the same value over a period of time. Then again it has some other value, that is zero value, for another period of time. So it has a same value for the entire duration of time. So it is only taking some values, not all the values. So this is digital signal. I hope the concept of analog data, first you have to differentiate between data and signal. The data is the information which is to be carried. It could be the bits like in digital data, and it could be the analog signals, that is the voice signals or the video signals or the music signals you want to carry. That is analog data. And signals is the carrier which is carrying the data. I hope that is clear to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, there is a concept of periodic and non-periodic signals. Okay, so like in the previous example, if my signal has a particular pattern and that pattern is repeated over a period of time, then it is known as periodic signal. So suppose any signal which has a sine wave pattern or a cosine wave pattern, then that is known as, or a square wave pattern, any signal, digital or analog, any type of a signal which have a pattern, repeated pattern, and it repeats itself over a period of time. So suppose t is the time of the duration of the signal. So in t time, the pattern is sine wave, another t plus 1 time, another sine wave, another cycle of sine wave, and so on. So then that kind of a signal is known as periodic signal. Non-periodic signal, basically it does not have any pattern, and it may change the pattern in another time period. So if it is t, t is sine wave, t plus 1 may be cosine, and t plus 2 may be something else, any random pattern of the signal. So that type of a, so it does not have any pattern and it does not have a cycle. So it is a continuous signal and it does not have any pattern. This is periodic signals or non-periodic signals. So normally we say periodic analog signals and non-periodic digital signals. So digital signals are non-periodic and analog signals are periodic normally. Then periodic analog signals. So this is not in the syllabus guidelines. We have only 3.2.6 in the guidelines. Yes. So then we talk of bandwidth. Can anyone tell, do you know about bandwidth? Have you studied bandwidth earlier? Janvi Yadav. Any idea about what is bandwidth? Normally when we say, when we try to call some vendor for installing the Wi-Fi, we say the bandwidth, the frequency. We talk in these terms, the bandwidth, the data rate, what is frequency. So,
Ma'am, it's basically a range of frequencies.
About of data transfer over the internet.
Ma'am, it is maximum amount of data transmitted over an internet connection
yeah.
in a certain
in a
period of
given
time.
Yes. Basically, when we are transferring the data or anything, when we are carrying the signal, the electromagnetic signal or a radio signal or maybe an optical signal, when we say that we are transmitting a signal from some point to another point, the signal has a range of frequencies. Okay, signal has a range of frequencies through which it can send the in which it can send the signal. Suppose we say we are sending a sine wave with a frequency of f1, and this medium, suppose this the same electromagnetic medium on which suppose radio waves we are sending, and we are sending another signal with a frequency of f2. So we may send so many. Have you done TDM and FDM, frequency division multiplexing and time division multiplexing in architecture? Or maybe in digital electronics, if you have opted for that? Anyone who has done FDM and TDM as a syllabus? Students?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, don't worry. So basically, when we are sending the signals, have you ever wondered that the same communication channel, and you are using so many mobile systems here? Suppose how this basically mobile technology is different, but we say on the same frequency range, we can use so many devices. So how it is possible? This is possible through frequency division multiplexing and time division multiplexing. We will discuss it later in the syllabus, don't worry. So now we say when we are transmitting a radio signal or maybe some electromagnetic signal, every signal has some frequency and some bandwidth. So the bandwidth is the total capacity of the channel on which you are transmitting data. So the lowest frequency is F1 suppose, and the highest frequency is suppose F4 or Fn. So the bandwidth of the whole channel is Fn minus F1. So we define bandwidth as Fn minus the highest frequency of the signal in that particular channel which you can transmit, and the lowest frequency signal which you can transmit. So this entire range of frequencies from the highest minus lowest will be the bandwidth of the channel. So the range of frequencies contained in a composite signal is its bandwidth. The bandwidth is normally the difference between the two numbers, which is the highest one and the lowest one. So suppose we say any signal contains frequencies between 1000 5000, so bandwidth will be 5000 minus 1000, that is 4000. So this is the highest minus the lowest frequency contained in the signal. So we'll do some examples based on the bandwidth and frequency range. So if a periodic signal is decomposed into 5 sine waves with frequencies of 100, 300, 500, 700 and 900, what is its bandwidth? So we say there are so many sine waves with the different frequencies 100, 300, 500, 700 and 900 hertz. So the bandwidth is the highest frequency of the signal is 900 and the lowest is 100. So 900 minus 100 is 800 hertz. This is so the spectrum is 100, 300, 500, 700, 800, 900. But the range is 800. So that is treated as the bandwidth. This is the bandwidth of the signal. Channel. Now, this is the example. So bandwidth of periodic and non-periodic composite signals. You can see the example, the previous example, 1000, and this is the highest frequency is 5000. So the range of frequencies are here. So the bandwidth of the periodic signal will be 500,000 minus 1000, that is 4000. And non-periodic is same. So in this case, the bandwidth will remain same. It doesn't depend on the periodic or non-periodic. But if you know the highest frequency and the lowest frequency, you can always get the bandwidth by applying the formula as highest frequency minus lowest frequency equals the bandwidth. So the formula will remain same for periodic and non-periodic signals. Is that clear? Now, next example was that now this is the digital signal. You can see here the signal is the digital signal. That why it is digital? Why I'm saying digital? Because this is not continuous. It has discrete value of 10 volts. So whenever you want to send some data, it will be at the 100 frequency, but always the voltage level will be 10 volts. 300, 500, 700 and 900. But the voltage level is always 10 volts. These are the discrete values, as single value. every time it is 10 volts. So this is digital data, so digital signal, and the bandwidth is 900 minus 100, that is 800 hertz. These are the two examples we discussed earlier in the previous examples. Now next is 3.11 example. Now again you have to calculate the bandwidth. If the bandwidth is given, you can find out the lowest and the highest frequencies. Periodic signal has a bandwidth of 20 hertz and the highest frequency is 60. What is the lowest frequency? So we know the highest frequency minus lowest frequency is equal to bandwidth. So 20 is given as a bandwidth is equal to the highest frequency is also given 60 hertz minus the lowest frequency is f1. So you can compute this formula. It is f1 is 60 minus 20, that is 40 hertz. So if you are given a bandwidth and one of the frequency, the lowest one or the highest one, then you can always compute the other one. So if it is highest is given and the bandwidth is given, you can compute the lowest one. And if the lowest is given, you can always compute the highest frequency. Then next example is 3.12. A non-periodic composite signal has a bandwidth of 200 kilohertz with a middle frequency of 140 kilohertz and peak amplitude of 20 volts. The two extreme frequencies have an amplitude of 0. Draw the frequency domain of the signal. Can you draw the frequency domain? Can you tell me the lowest frequency and the highest frequency? I have been given 200 kilohertz of bandwidth. Can anyone tell what is the lowest frequency and what is the highest frequency? Sorry.
Ma'am, lowest is 60 kilohertz and highest is 140 kilohertz.
No. Actually, try to solve it again. The total bandwidth, the range of frequencies is 200 kilohertz. The total range, that is highest minus lowest, is 200. This is a different question. Just again do it. पहले वाले जैसा नहीं है. The range of frequencies is 200. So FN, FH minus FL, highest minus lowest is 200. And it says the peak, the middle one is 140 kilohertz. Middle one वाली जो frequency है, that is 140 kilohertz. And that is having the highest amplitude of 20 volts. So उसकी जो सबसे ज़्यादा highest frequency, जो middle वाली frequency है, उसकी highest peak है. Lowest frequencies जो है, they are at 0 volts. And the range, the bandwidth is 200 kilohertz. So 140 मिडिल में है तो 140 और टोटल फ्रीक्वेंसी रेंज क्या है 200 किलोहर्ट्ज. तो 140 से मिडिल में है तो 100 पहले और 100 बाद में, तो कितना हो जाएगा? लोएस्ट कितनी हो जाएगी?
40 and 240.
Yes, 40 and 240. That's right. Fine. So now you can see. So if it is like this one, कि आपका 20 volts है. अच्छा ये तो पूरे previous example है. So this is the 40 kilohertz and 140 पे we said this is the peak one, 20 volts and 0 volts. It says 0 volts at the extremes, the lowest one and the smallest one. So अगर 140 middle में है तो और total 100 करना है, 200 करना है तो 100 पहले और 100 बाद में. So this is 40 kilohertz and 240 kilohertz. Is that clear? This is the domain, frequency domain. Domain means the range of values from which the frequencies are picked up. So the domain is from 40 kilohertz to 240 kilohertz. This is the domain of the signal. Then figure example 3.13. An example of a non-periodic composite signal is the signal propagated by the AM radio station. जैसे आपका पहले आप FM सुनते हो, आजकल आप FM सुनते हो, पहले क्या होता था? AM होता था, short wave, and you are hearing at AM. So previously we used to have AM and short waves. Okay, so if the radio station is the signals which are having this AM at radio stations, basically they are propagating the signals as audio analog modulation. AM is basically analog modulation. We'll discuss it later. So in United States, each AM radio station is assigned 10 kilohertz of bandwidth. So the total bandwidth dedicated to the AM radio ranges is 530 to 1700 kilohertz. So we'll discuss later why the AM channels, the radio channels are all 10 kilohertz. We'll discuss later. So these are just examples of all the signals and the bandwidth and the frequencies. This is another example. 3.14 is another example. Now you can have an example of this, how much bandwidth you will require, how much given based on a TV signal. If you want to send a non-periodic composite signal over a TV, black and white TV. So अगर आपको टीवी स्क्रीन पे पिक्सल्स भेजने और सारे पिक्चर एलिमेंट्स ब्लैक एंड वाइट में है, तो या तो उस पिक्चर में कोई भी पिक्सल ब्लैक होगा या वो पिक्सल वाइट होगा, ठीक है. तो उसमें अगर स्क्रीन को हम स्कैन करते हैं 30 टाइम्स पर सेकेंड अगर स्कैनिंग करते हैं, तो स्कैनिंग एक्चुअली 60 टाइम्स पर सेकेंड होती है नॉर्मली, बट हम कह रहे हैं कि हमें ऑड लाइंस अलग से स्कैन करनी है और इवन लाइंस अलग से स्कैन करनी है. तो हमारा और रेजोल्यूशन अगर हमारे टीवी का है 525 बाय 700, तो अगर इतनी वर्टिकल लाइंस और इतनी हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइंस अगर हमें स्कैन करनी है, तो उसके लिए हमारे को कितने पिक्सल्स की जरूरत पड़ेगी, कितने पिक्सल्स होंगे स्क्रीन पर, 525 into 700, इतने पिक्सल्स हमारे पूरे स्क्रीन पर. और सभी को अगर हमें 30 टाइम्स स्कैनिंग करनी है 1 सेकंड में, तो मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 30, तो दीज मेनी पिक्सल्स पर सेकंड विल बी स्कैन्ड. सो हमें दिस इज द वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो. और अगर हम ये कहते हैं कि हम एक कलर से ब्लैक को मिनिमम एम्पलीट्यूड से कर देते हैं और व्हाइट को मैक्सिमम एम्पलीट्यूड से, जैसे मैंने बोला कि 10 वोल्ट से हम 1 को रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं और 0 वोल्ट से 0 को रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं. इसलिए ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट में हम एम्पलीट्यूड को मॉडिफाई कर देते हैं कि अगर हमारे पास मैक्सिमम फ्रीक्वेंसी का सिग्नल आ रहा है, तो दैट इज ट्रीटेड एज व्हाइट पिक्सल, एंड इफ यू आर हैविंग low amplitude signal or zero amplitude signal, that is the black pixel. So we can say the data, the amount of cycles required will be divided by 2, because with the same signal, the absence and presence or high amplitude and low amplitude, the number of cycles per second will be required is this much, which comes out to be 5.5124 megahertz. So this is the frequency we need for a television, for black and white television. And okay, so this was the worst case scenario, but we'll see later why we don't need so much of frequency. We don't have television sets with so much of higher frequency. We need low frequency range, and we'll see later why it can be accommodated. And most of the times it can be accommodated in 3.85 megahertz, and if we use some synchronization signals also attached with it, so 0.15 megahertz can be used for signaling also, synchronization signals. So that comes out to be 4 megahertz bandwidth for the TV screens. And for analog color television, we'll be needing 6 megahertz of bandwidth. So that all why this range is so small, we can discuss it later, because we'll be not only using this simple signaling mechanism of AM amplitude modulation, we can use so many signaling methods so that we can efficiently use our bandwidth, and we can reduce the frequency range to transmit the signals. What is the time? It is 12:40, so we can pick up another thing also. So the next topic is transmission impairment. So when the signals are being transmitted over a transmission medium, now suppose when I'm talking to you, most of the times when we are using the technology, the high-speed internet and all those sophisticated devices like good headphones and good laptop devices and good communication medium, high-speed internet, Wi-Fi, then it is supposed to be very efficient, and the data I'm transmitting from the source to the destination, it is supposed to reach the destination intact and in 100% it is correct, and there is no impairment, there is no problem with the data, there is no distortion with the data. Normally we assume that, but it always happens that because of some transmission media impairments, and there are some problems with the transmission media, due to which there are some noise in the signals, and the signals and the data, it does not reach the destination in the same correct form, 100% correct form. It may have some noise attached to it, noise, or maybe that an impairment, that is not the exact signal. So the basic cause of impairment is attenuation, distortion, and noise. We'll discuss what are the three types of impairments. The first is attenuation. It means a loss of energy. When a signal, simple or composite, travels through a medium, it loses some of its energy in overcoming the resistance of the medium. Now you must have seen when you are charging your mobile phone, or you are charging your laptop, or maybe you are using some machine in your home, maybe juicer mixer, or maybe the induction plate, or maybe the television also. There is some heat generated in the adapter. Suppose you're charging your laptop, or you are charging your phone. When you touch it after 10 minutes of charging, you can see that it has become hot. Have you seen that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
yeah, so that's
Yes,
because that electrical signal is going now. That's not required for doing any information transfer. We are not transferring any information. This is the simplest example of any machine. So whenever you are charging your mobile phone or your laptop or any other device, it happens that your adapter becomes hot, a little bit warm and hot. That's because the transmission media, it creates resistance, and some of the energy is lost, and it becomes the heat energy. So when it always happens. Suppose when you're transferring the data for telephone lines, like through twisted pair and through coaxial cable also, some of the data is lost because of the heat energy. So normally every transmission media has its own attenuation properties. So some transmission media, they attenuate the signal more, they dissipate the energy more, and heat is generated, more heat is generated. Some transmission media, they generate less heat. Now you must have seen the more powerful machine is, suppose you're just charging your charger. So in case of your chargers, it uses low power devices, so therefore you can charge it on any electrical socket. But if you're having your laptop to be charged, or you are using an induction plate, or you are using your mixer juicer, or you are using your iron press, then you have to use a power plug. So in that case, more heat is generated. Therefore, we say some some transmission media. So when we are talking of a normal charger, simple telephone charger, we see the wire is a thin one. So you don't need a high power transmission media just to carry those electrical signals. You don't need a thick wire because it does not generate more heat. But when you are using an iron, then in that case, you must have seen the cable is more thick, and it is having this is more basically, what do you say, sturdy. This is more authentic to use thick wire with the iron, because it generates more electricity. So whenever it becomes thick, it generates more electricity also, and you need a strong medium, good medium to transfer the electrical signal, so that it does not come out of that wire. So you need a thick wire for iron. But for charging a mobile phone or a laptop, you may be needing a small thin wire. That's because the less heat is generated. So if you are using a thick wire, yes.
Ma'am, the
Yes.
quiz that is going to happen on Thursday, is it going to be oral or written?
The test.
No, ma'am,
Quiz. Yeah, quiz will be multiple choice questions, and I'll be using the online mode. I'll be doing it in the this kind of
Will it be oral or written? Like orally, we have to do the quizzes and like participate in that, or it will be a written format.
it won't be kind of written. It is MCQs or fill in the blanks, and it will be done on the mobile phone only, mobile or laptop, whatever you have.
Like Google
Ma'am,
form.
through the Google form.
Ma'am, do we have to write or you will ask us?
Yes, ma'am, that's the question.
I didn't understand. That quiz will be online quiz.
Ma'am,
Yes,
if you
ma'am,
will ask
online
the question,
quiz.
then they have to respond to that answer. Like whosoever has got the answer, like they have to raise their hands, or like it will be in the Google form. So you will post it, and we have to just basically solve the quiz.
No, it will be type of like you have done KBC, na? You have watched KBC.
Yes, ma'am.
So it will be just like a game. You have never attempted any online quizzes. That won't be a Google form, simple Google form. It will be a live quiz. So it will be just like a game. So you'll have questions displayed for a particular duration of time, maybe 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And you'll have to just choose. So it will be like a game, quiz game.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Fine. So I'll be giving you the code. So you get ready with your mobile phones, or maybe if your hardware is so good, your laptop is good, you can open another window and open myquizzes.com or join the quiz and put that code in the quiz, and then you can start. So once all of you will log in into that quiz, then I'll start playing the game, and all the questions will be displayed on your individual screens. So there is no scope of cheating as such, I hope, because it will be displayed as different random choices, and the choices will be jumbled for every user, every student. So if I have given, suppose, multiple choice questions, A, B, C, 3 choices. So some students will have B as the first choice. Some students have A as the first choice on their screens. But the right answer will
मैम
be
कौन से चैप्टर आ रहा है?
first and second.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. But I'll try to conduct it in the lab part, okay? Hope you don't have any labs after 2, or maybe after taking the attendance and taking the instructions from the teacher, you can just join the class for half an hour, okay, for the quiz, because I don't want to waste the